right in the camera. This is the only prelude whose theme I don't fully get behind. I'm not exactly sure why, I guess it's just aesthetics for you. It's perfectly reasonable, nice and rhythmic, like all of Bach. But there is a part that I absolutely love, and it made me not want to give up on this piece. It's in the middle. There's this climax where, once again, this theme that I'm not really into shows up, as it does in the entire piece. But the left hand, the accompaniment, I don't know why, it just makes it really come alive. It just feels like the skies are opening up. Let me lead up into it. There's another part I really like, is at the ending where it's really apocalyptic, but this is the part that made me really want to try to squeeze as much as I can out of this prelude. So thinking about it, why do I like this part but the rest of it less so? I realized that I was thinking about things in the wrong way. I was thinking of this piece in terms of a theme and an accompaniment. So the theme is the most important part, and the accompaniment would be secondary, subordinate to it. But that's really wrong. What I'm responding to here aren't two separate things, one more important than the other. What I'm responding to are two equally important rhythmic lines, or melodic lines, and together they combine to make something like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. This is true for Bach pretty much always. Melodic lines are rarely, or rhythmic lines, rarely subordinate one to another. They're usually equally important and they just combine together. I realized this at the beginning as well when I had my second revelation, the second moment of truth. The beginning is a part that I really struggled with, and the reason was this quasi-trill over here. So the accompaniment, I'm going to keep using air quotes because it's not really an accompaniment, it's an equally important melodic line. But it has this quasi-trill. The problem is that we're not playing so fast that it's an actual trill. That would be ludicrous. It would be like a... I can't even do it. But if we play it too slowly, it feels very clunky, like you're plodding along. See what I mean? The tempo is like right in that, it's not really a sweet spot, it's like the opposite of a sweet spot because it's very hard. You're not playing either too fast or too slow. You're like right in the middle where you feel the pull of, man, I really wish I could play a little bit faster to get like actual trills, or a little bit slower to make it a little easier. But no, we're like right in that middle sweet spot. So the revelation that I had for this part that made me love the piece a lot more and made me play the trills a lot better, quasi-trills, is that I do actually like one part of this, and it's this part, this especially if I ornament it. I don't know why I like it. Again, that's just aesthetics. You either like something or you don't. I guess it just feels very declarative to me, like we have this home bass, this boom, and you really feel that pull and that drive going back to it. And then I realized, okay, actually what I like about that, it's not like I'm playing three separate notes over here. Let me just get straight to the point. This piece is written in 9/8, right? You have 9/8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But it flows a lot better. It feels a lot more rhythmic and a lot more dance-like if you feel it in three pulses. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And sure enough, that's why I really like this accompaniment at the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. That boo-doo-doo-doon. That's really one single motion. It's not three separate ones. Pom, 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 pom. It's doo-doo-doo-doon. And the trill comes alive with this notion as well, where if you're feeling every single eighth note, that quasi-trill will feel very clunky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But if you feel it in terms of three, All that really matters in that quasi-trill is entering it and coming out of it. And you're no longer plodding along. Boom. So this revelation that you should feel the piece in 3 instead of in 9 was by far the most important thing that made me just enjoy the piece more, and I think it really transmits a lot more to the audience, and it finally feels like you can dance along with it. You feel that pulse that is so important in Bach's music. One more thing about that, another useful thing that came out of this feel it in 3 instead of in 9 is the theme. I had this tendency to play the theme in a way that made it feel kind of clumsy. I had a word for this. It felt choppy. Yeah, I would go like this, pa-pa-pum, pa-pa-pum, which is perfectly fine, but in the context of the piece, it felt, again, a little choppy. So the problem was that I was emphasizing that second eighth note, which makes sense, because you're leading into it, right? These are the 2 16th notes that lead into that note. Ba-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-dum. But if you're feeling the piece in 3 instead of in 9, you lose that tendency. You are kind of forced to emphasize the first eighth note, the fourth, and the seventh eighth notes, right? The 1, 2, and the 3. And that was another thing that just was resolved by itself just by thinking of the piece in a more rhythmic pulse-like 3 instead of these 9 clomping along eighth notes. The biggest problem with this piece, well, now that we figured out a good way of playing it, is it is hard. I read a book recently, I forget the guy's name. He's a very famous Russian teacher. It's very good for teachers. If you're a teacher, I highly recommend reading that book for all its faults. It's very interesting. Anyways, he says that the hardest thing to do at the piano, mechanically, physically, is to play very loudly, very rapidly for a long period of time. And that makes sense. Harder, better, stronger, faster. I mean, just physically, the most demanding thing you can do at any instrument or anything in life is to go like really, really hard, as in like very forte, very loudly, for a long time, and very, very rapidly. That's why the B-flat minor prelude by Chopin is so difficult. I mean, forget about the left hand, which goes... This is the easy part. When it goes into octave, the left hand is the easy part. The hard part is that the right hand has to play for like an entire minute, very forte and very fast. I'm kind of making a mockery of it, but just to get the idea. This is the same thing over here. It's what, the piece is like 45 seconds, I think, but it's 45 sustained seconds of playing quite fast and quite loud. It really doesn't let up. At some level, I don't have a tip for you for how to get good at that. You just need to practice. A teacher helps a lot. But I will give you some practice tips to work on that endurance while also working on the beat, on feeling the pulse of the piece. So what I recommend is doing the following. I recommend playing the theme. Let's play it with the right hand now, and accompanying it in 2 different ways. The first way is with that quasi-trill. Again, emphasize the 1. 1, 2, 3. You can do that switching hands as well. Let's go in the second section when it's in E minor. And then practice with a different accompaniment, an accompaniment that isn't trills, but it's still these 16th notes. I like going like this, so 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Ooh. switching hands. Ba-da-dum, bum, 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 bum. You can see it's pretty difficult, but I like this a lot for this piece because not only does it work, it helps your endurance, this is just regular studying, but it also forces you to lock in to this pulse of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You'll find that, as usual with trills and tremolos, it's hard to keep it very metronomic, very, well, not metronomic, but very, so that it's not messy. We have a tendency when we play trills and tremolos to start blending the notes together and the rhythms, and it's not as clean. So take it slowly, build up the speed, and you'll get there. Other than that, this piece is actually quite straightforward. The composition, the way it's written, is not all that complicated at all. It reminds me of Mos Def talking about De La Soul, how they're like clean technicians, I think is the word he used. They're very like 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4. And that is the case over here. I mean, it's just, we have this theme and an accompaniment, again, theme and accompaniment, in 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4. So right at the beginning, 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4. We have this theme. That's the second bar, third bar, fourth bar. And then again, 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4. This time the hands have switched. The theme is in the left hand. This is the first bar, second bar, third bar, fourth. And then again, 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4. In this section, the theme remains in the left hand, while the right hand gets a little more melodic. And this is I think it's the only section that I would say it's quite, has like a harmonically interesting thing going on. This is a very Baroque, like circle of fifths. So we got like E minor, do-do-do-do-do-do-do, A major. Okay, right? We move down a fifth. And then we go D minor to G major, C major, F major, G to C. Very, very straightforward. Bum, 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 bum. The next section, this is where Bach kind of, there's only 3 bars in the next section. It's kind of interesting. Well, maybe it's 4 bars, but it kind of blends into the next 4 bars. It's kind of cool. This is another very simple harmonic part where we have, this is C major to F major to G7 to C. Very simple 1, 4, 5. And then again, it just continues 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4, where things get repeated. We have this and then it repeats. And now we're back to feeling the theme again, 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4, more kind of, again, not repetitive, but we have 2 bars where the theme is in the left hand, 2 bars where it's in the right hand, and then we have 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4 of this outro, this kind of like apocalyptic, these strings of 16th notes. And it ends on a nice A major. So pretty straightforward, not a lot of harmony going on. It's just the theme with an accompaniment, which is usually has the same kind of rhythm most of the time. So it's pretty straightforward to learn the piece. The hard part is that endurance technically, and then most important is to feel the pulse, this 1, 2, 3, so that it's not that clunky. Okay. Wow, that was only 15 minutes. Let's play the piece. Let's see how it goes.